Hello, hello, hello. Hi, and welcome. You are watching Good News at Prime Time. And tonight we're going to be talking about politics. As you know, we have a big election coming up, a major election coming up. And it is so important that we get all the facts, we know who we're voting for, and all of that good stuff. It's been a while since we've been on the air, so I want to say welcome back for all of you who've been loyal to watching our show. Thank you for tuning in, and we're going to have a doozy tonight. And without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and bring on my co-host, Mr. Reggie Drummer.
How
Hey,
you doing?
Reggie, how you doing?
Doing great. I'm doing great. It's awesome to be here to share the good news. Uh, I'm super excited. You know, it's nothing more exciting than an election year. That's an opportunity for us to buy, lease, rent, or own a politician, and especially with this one being the presidential year, just coming from Chicago. So I'm excited, and I checked out both conventions, the Republican and the Democratic National Convention.
Did you? Yeah. Interesting, huh? Yeah.
Pardon?
Would you say interesting, huh? Would you say they both are very interesting?
Oh yes. Oh yes, indeed. Um, I I didn't get inside of them, but I did observe them from the YouTube. So and MSBC and even C-SPAN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've watched a little bit of it myself. I didn't watch it like I needed to because I was working, so it kind of took me away. I'm just preoccupied, to be honest. Preoccupied, but I have been getting my ears full. And some of the stuff is like, whoa. Especially, with Trump campaign, and I know he backed the 20 Project 2025. Now he's acting like he don't know anything about it. So I'm just wondering what is it going to be like. But then his what vice president um was part of it. He was one of the authors of the 2025 Project 2025. So that's going to be something interesting right there. And a lot of people don't know about it. That's a big old book,
Oh yeah.
with all the information on there. And if you don't know what's going on, you need to learn.
Yes.
You need to learn because what they have proposed is going to make a lot of people uneasy. And those people who thought Trump was their friend, who's going to do good for them, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. I just got to say it myself, a rude awakening, because some of the stuff I heard, that's not good.
Well, one of the things, and this is for everybody out here. I don't care what state that you're in. You know, whether you vote, don't vote, thought about voting, uh, but if you want to vote in this upcoming November election, we encourage people to check your voting status. Check your
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Secretary of State app in your state. Here in Georgia, we have an MVP.gov that you can go to the Secretary of State, Georgia Secretary of State. You can check your voting status. Make sure that you are active. You see the group, depending on where you look at your status or check your status, you'll see active. And I've checked a lot of people's status over the last couple of weeks, and I got a lot of non-active people that thought that they were registered to vote, but they've been purged or removed from the voting process. So you still got time if you do it ahead of time, because you have until like October to register. But you want to make sure that you register first. And then once you find out that you're registered and you're active, you want to make sure that you know where to go. Now, if you're early voting, oh yes, thank you there. Uh, See here is the MVP website. You can go in there, just put in your first initial, last name, your county, date of birth, and submit it. It'll tell you everything you need to know, because you need to know ahead of time before you go there. You don't want to be trying to go in line based on some stuff you did a couple of months ago, and then you put yourself in a position where you're getting frustrated the day of the election. So if you're doing early voting, you need to know where the early voting poll sites are. All poll sites are not early voting sites, so you need to know that. And then you need to know where you have to go if you wait until November the 6th. You also need to know absentee ballots, all that process. There's opportunities for people like you and I to become part of the process. You can actually work the polls. You can
Mm-hmm.
work the polls in your area. This is why it's critical to know your local politician. You can call your mayor's office. You can call your local, community council person, any of those people, and you can find if they have openings. Plus, they have paid positions. You can go anywhere between $100 and $150 working the day of the election. So these are opportunities. A lot of people don't think about it, and this is one reason we encourage people to vote early. Because if you vote early, guess what? You can work the polls. Now, if you vote real early, guess what you can do? You might can get a 2-week paycheck. You can work the early poll locations. They'll train you and everything. And you can work the day of the actual election. So this is why early voting is so critical. And, being in contact with your local representatives.
Right. Yeah. And it's so important to make sure that you are registered, because they are getting rid of a lot of people. Trump is doing his best to make sure that he win. And I even heard that they try to make it whereas all the votes be counted by 7 o'clock. And it's like, how in the world that's going to happen when the polls don't end until 7?
Well,
So, they're going to be doing a lot of crooked stuff, a lot of crooked stuff, just trying to win.
right.
And,
Well, we know it's impossible. So some of the stuff is fake news. So, we can throw that out. It'll be way into the night hour before, they calculate the votes. Okay. See, a lot of things are voting scares, different things that people put out to just get people worried. Okay. Now,
mhm.
with the exception of all, there are going to be some other local people running for this election. You got more people on the ballot than just the president.
Mm. And
So
it's sad to say, I don't know anybody but the president and the vice president who's running.
you
I
got
guess
it.
I need to be,
Yeah, you got
huh?
to look. I think we got sheriffs running. That's important. I think you got it. But this is the importance of looking down at your voting status and see who your representatives are. One of the things I feel very comfortable with. I see my representative uh, acted. Her name is Nikema Williams. I've actually
Mhm.
seen her work the Harris campaign. Okay, and
Okay.
if you look around and you see on the Republican side, uh, you hear her name all the time, Marjorie Taylor Greene. One of the things those people
Mhm.
be assured of is she's working. So we have to make sure that our local politician is our face, because any issues that you have that need to be brought up or entertained at different levels, that's what we count on. And I was good to see both of my senators, Warnock and Ossoff, uh, and like I said, my congressman who is Nikema Williams, and a couple others, but it was good to see them there because
Right.
people are our face when it comes down to representation. And many of the things that we have to pay attention to, you brought up uh, Project 2025. Uh, you got to look at that. Uh, but look here, see, these are some important dates. Absentee voting period, August. Voter registration deadline is October the 7th. That means that you got until October the 7th uh, to register to vote. So if you got somebody out there sitting on the fence talking and saying all kind of things, but not registered, they're not actively participating in the thing. And even if they don't want to vote for the president, they say, I don't like Trump and I don't like Kamala. You still have
Mhm.
issues that are relevant to your community. Okay?
Yeah.
And absentee voting starts from August the 19th until October the 25th. So people are actually already voting. A lot of people in the military, if you looked at the Democratic convention, this is something a lot of people didn't realize. We got something like 14 territories outside of the United States, Puerto Rico, Guam, Samoa, all these United States Virgin Islands. All those folk are voting absentee because they don't vote in the United States. Okay, the military people, states,
Mhm.
they'll be doing absentee ballot and absentee voting. Uh, and advance voting. This is for regular people like us. You can vote in advance, and that's from October the 15th to November the 1st. Okay, so that's about maybe 2 weeks. And that's, like I said, that's an opportunity for you to volunteer or get paid to work the polls. And
Right.
after voting ballot deadline is November the 5th by 7 o'clock p.m. And that's one of the reasons we have to look and listen when they say certain things. They might say all votes have to be in. That might mean absentee votes. Okay? Those
Okay.
absentee votes have to be in prior to that. And then the election day is the 7th. So absentee votes have to be turned in by November the 5th. That's 2 days before the actual election. So those are some key things we have to really, pay attention to, and don't get so caught up in the weeds or the sauce that we're not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? If you got people
Mhm.
that's outside the United States or even people in your neighborhood, they still got time to register to vote. And a lot of times we had to bring people up to speed on some of the local issues that affect your community. Okay, they might have what they call a tax that they're going to use for road building. And what's that? SPOST? You always see that somewhere.
Flash
What no those?
was what?
SPLOST or something like that. You see it on all
SPLOSH, isn't it? TH.
where
I don't know the splash. I remember that.
well, that's always something like that in different counties around, especially Georgia. And people are like, whoa, road construction, all those things, a lot of these things. So
Mhm.
that's why it's important that you look and know that there's something other something else to vote on other than
Right.
your president. Okay, so yeah, the president and is important. Okay, but what's
Yeah.
more, your local issues, your local things that are going to affect you, your family, all that, your community.
Yeah, local is important, but the presidential election this year is important. And I hope everybody get out and vote, because I know a lot of people said they weren't going to vote, but after Kamala got in, they decided they were going to vote. One person said it was about 25 of them who weren't going to vote at all. But once she got in office, all of them decided they were going to vote, and they're going to vote for her. So that's important right there, because um, and I hope when the election is over, everything is stable, because Trump said if he lose, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Well,
So I,
you
I
know,
I don't want that to happen. And some people are actually gearing up and being prepared for that. Because they think all hell is going to break loose when the election is over. So we hope we don't have another January 6th incident. Yeah.
right. Well, one of the things we in America, and we can't live by fear. Uh, but one of the things, and I know how a lot of people felt or how a lot of people feel. These are some things we found out. When you looked at the Republican convention, there were
Hmm.
few Republican uh, representatives that joined Trump. He brought Hulk Hogan, Amber Rose, a couple, uh, I think Scott out of North Carolina, South Carolina, Tim Scott. But
Hmm.
oh, people like George Bush, I mean, what's the baby Bush? That's George Bush. Uh, None of those folks showed up. When you looked at the Democratic convention, look what happened. They brought everybody back, every president that was alive. And Jimmy Carter is on a respirator and he's holding on so he can vote.
Yeah.
But Bill
And
Clinton,
they had some of the Republicans over there.
oh yes, a lot of crossovers. So I think the temperament of, we say pro and con. One of the things that if you just listen to Fox News or some of the conservative, not necessarily conservative, but like Rumble, a lot of the propaganda media, they would make it appear that people are just sucking up the Trump aid. Now, if you're sucking up the Trump aid, you believe everything he's saying, everything she's doing, from what attempted assassination and all that. Even recently with John F. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joining alliance, and all this type stuff, and a lot of people are fed up with the lies that he's telling. It's more obvious now because he doesn't have Joe Biden to pick on. Talk about how old he is, and Joe forget he's debating. Now, guess who the old man is sitting out there?
Yeah,
Donald Trump.
Trump.
And,
Yeah.
and look, you hadn't seen Mitch McConnell. None of the old heads have shown up. Oh, Texas AG raid homes of Latino civil rights group members, setting up a voters' rights showdown. Now these wow, uh, these are people that are uh, the raids have triggered outrage and cries of voter suppression in a state with a long history of discrimination against citizens of Mexican descent, which helped give rise to LULAC. I don't know what that is. That's a Latino uh, group. But all across, people are doing what they can for voter suppression. Uh, Raids on the homes of several Democrats in South Texas in what the state general said is an ongoing election integrity investigation has set off a showdown with the nation's oldest Latino civil rights group. August 20th, raids targeted Manuel Medina's chair of the uh, Tejano Democrats and several members of the Latino American Citizen. This is a state house candidate and a local mayor. So you see, people are acting up, but at the same time, we have to be vigilant. You see, those folk are standing their ground, hold because we know they're going to be doing some type of voter suppression. So the first
Hmm.
Defense is making sure you registered, make sure you've not been purged from the polls. And then once you get all that in place, most of us just vote, but you would do your due diligence to get out and align yourself with your local politician. If you're a Democrat, join forces with local Democrats. That means you got to know who's the Democrat in your area.
Right. Yeah.
Republican, and you need to align yourself with the Republican person that's in your area, because those are the people that's going to help you stay on point and stay focused. Now, a lot of people are looking at the issues that are at hand. Project 21, Project 2025,
2025. Yeah.
that's almost 1,000 page, 900 some pages that's going to affect a lot of people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next president, and one of the reasons you might not want Donald Trump back in there, he already put 3 Supreme Court justices in place.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity, unless he dies within, because Clarence Thomas already said that he's going, time he gets in the chair, they'll be holding hearings to replacing Clarence Thomas as soon as April.
Mm.
And then
Okay.
there's some other older justices. So if he's a sitting president, he's got the opportunity. And if you got 6 very conservative, well, let's not say conservative, but loyal Supreme Court justices, you got 6-3. So you know how that vote's going to turn out. So
Yeah.
you have to pay attention to the presidential election, because the next president, if it's Democrat, he or she will have maybe 2. But Thomas, either he gonna die, they gonna lock him up for taking money, or something within the next 2 years.
Right. So we don't want Trump getting any more judges on board, because he picked those people already because he knew that he was going to be in trouble if he didn't lose. I mean, if he didn't win. So he putting all these judges in place before he got out of office, because he knew he going to need them, and some of them been backing him up. So we don't want that to happen anymore. Let's do some of the pros and cons of this election. Um, Trump versus Camilla. This is the way I look at it. Pros and cons, prosecutor versus a convict. You know, so pros and cons. Pros. Let's do some pros. Kamala Harris. She always try to help people. Even her younger days, she always try to help people, versus Trump, who always try to harm people, take things from them. Trump, he would hire people to do a job and wouldn't pay them. And then I was reading where he had hired one company to do a job, and he didn't pay them. He paid them part of the money, and that company ended up going out of business because of Trump. And stuff like that. You don't want somebody in office who's going to take from you, who's going to cause you to lose money. But that's what Trump did, even with his his fake university.
Yeah.
We're going to go way back. His fake university, people thinking they're going somewhere and doing something, and that didn't work out too well. So and then whereas he had the fake university, Kamala Harris helped pay the student loans for people and encourage education. So that was the difference. And then with the Project 2025, I think they want to get rid of the Department of Education. So get rid of, and then Trump, he's not that educated anyway. You can tell the way he talk. He's not that educated, so he's not worried about anybody else. But I don't know.
Hey there, Lady Tish, how you doing? I know you got something to say about us. Yes, welcome, welcome. But now look at the con man. He's got a history of tricking people, hoodwinking people, bamboozling people. He's got more lawyers in trouble. He's got more lawyers in trouble than any person we can think of that's in the political arena. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from false, for the 5 young men that he billboard and asked that they be hunted down and killed in New York.
Yeah. Hunted down and killed.
Yeah, he took a billboard out and suggested that they should be hunted down and brought in to be killed. That means yeah, he did that. So
Mm.
he also, during the Obama years, he went out of his way for distractions, talking about his birth certificate, even his race, just like he's doing with Kamala, trying to challenge whether she's black or all this type stuff, all this nonsense. Uh, all the promises that he made, he didn't keep one. Okay, all he had more changeovers in this cabinet because some people had enough nerve to say, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. They had some integrity, but a lot of people didn't. And a lot of the people that he did start out with back in what was that 20 I forgot what year I think he was 2016, oh yeah, it's gonna be a circus act on a high flying trapeze. Uh, it's gonna be a circus act. But like you say, he's a clown. Okay. And for some reason, and I just took this side because I was talking to a guy earlier, looks like he don't want to win. My focus is advocating for the protection of our vote, especially in Georgia. You're right about that. We got to focus on protecting our vote. That's why we put it out there. Check your voting status. Follow up with at least one local politician so you can either volunteer, work the polls, make some money during this election process. And then that way we got boots on the ground, not just voting, but also participating in the process. The process is a lot more than just punching your vote in. The process
Right.
involved a lot of other things. Democrats sue over new election rules in battleground Georgia. Wow. The plaintiffs argued that the rules would allow individual county board members to block certification of legitimate election results. That's why it's important that you get out there and be part of this thing. The Democratic National Committee, the Democratic Party of Georgia, and several individuals, including county board members, sued Georgia state election boards on Monday. That was yesterday, over new election rules that critics say conflict with state law mandating certification of election results. At the heart of the civil suit filed in Fulton County are two items the election board passed this month: the reasonable inquiry rule and the examination rule. Because you don't want somebody to be standing over your shoulder like a bill collector. The suit says the rules conflict with Georgia statutes governing certification, and the election board did not follow procedures for rulemaking as required by the state law. If therefore asked the court to pause the two rules to the extent that they conflict with existing laws. They already have laws on the book. The plaintiffs are asking for a declaration that election results must be certified by Georgia's statutory deadline of November the 12th, and that certification is mandatory rather than discretionary. Uh, so it's a lot going on, for the protection of the vote and the sanity of the
Yeah.
vote. So we definitely got to be focused and staying proactive. And the tone is being set not just in Georgia but in Texas. We see what's going on there. Other states, what we call um, you know middle ground states that are up for, can be easily moved into any direction for voter suppression. We know a lot about the South, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Down in Florida, they've got a lot of stuff going on down there with voter suppression. So this is why we have
Mm-hmm.
to really, really, really be proactive. And that's a part of the pros and cons. I think recently there were three officials. One of the reasons they targeted this investigation in Georgia because three officials, not elected officials, but people that deal with the voter electorate, were having a private meeting.
Mm. Oh, recently?
Yes.
Uh,
You know,
yeah,
getting
yeah. Because I know that Trump is working on people and some of his people, I guess, are working on people trying to make sure that he win this election. You know, he's making sure, and they changing all kinds of rules and doing all kinds of things to make sure that he win. So let me ask you a question. You said that he don't want to win this election.
Well, some of the things that he's doing, when he came to Georgia, uh, he's alienated himself from all the other Republicans. You know, in Georgia, him and the governor, he insulted Kim and his wife.
Oh, really?
And when he came here, Kim didn't show up for the thing. When he showed up, he made negative comments. That's why you're constantly saying, "Don't get distracted." We got to stay focused because they raiding stuff. The landscape is changing. So where can we see or expect these bogus targeting? They're gonna be all over. You're gonna see stuff everywhere. This is why we telling people all over the United States, check your voting status. Get with the local
Hmm.
so you'll have something or you'll be aware of what's going on. Don't put your head in the sand and wait until November the 7th. But going back again to uh the will to want to win, okay? Uh like I said, everybody he brought out was just pomp and circumstance. He brought with and well, let me get and then I'm gonna talk about the vice president in a second. His pick. But now he's the old man, okay?
Hmm.
People are looking at him a little bit different because they said, you know, you got two old men bumping heads and talking. It's just like hearing your granddaddy and your grandmama do an argument. It's kind
Yeah.
of it's your old Joe forget and Donald Trump just up that line. Now, one of the things that's happening now, and it hadn't even happened, the debate. You say the pro and the con, the prosecutor against the convict. One of the things that Kamala Harris, whether you like her or not, a lot of people say she locked up a lot of folk, but I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of folk needed to be locked up. Okay,
Yep.
yes, you a prosecutor, I want you locking people up. Okay, that's your
Hmm.
okay. Now, if don't do wrong if you don't want to get locked up. So a lot of people did get locked up, and so anyway, getting past that, we looking at her ability to hold the conversation right there. See, Trump has been able to manipulate a conversation. Right now, they're talking about cutting the mics on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
See,
and that's still up for debate right now. You,
yes,
you know that shouldn't even be. Cut it
right.
off, cause Trump know he's gonna be talking. Just cut
Oh
it
yeah,
off
he
when he's not talking.
can't stop. And see, the Republican Party, you know, for this election, they just saying to themselves, you know what? Just let the train wreck. Okay. Now, what
Hmm.
happened and we say pro and con on the Democrat side, and I didn't believe that they were going to get rid of Joe. I thought at
Hmm.
least wait until the convention. But they got Joe out of there before the convention, and the energy has shifted. Okay. Now, a lot of things when you look at the pros and cons, we look at a vice president. A vice president only has two jobs.
And what
Two,
two of those?
her job, the vice president's job, if something should happen, president, the vice
Yeah.
president to be ready to get in line.
Yeah.
Thing that the vice president does. If there's a tie in the Senate, because you got 50 people, okay, if you got 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans, and they vote along party line, that means what? It's a
Uh,
50
50.
vice president, and she's done this, I think, on 6 occasions. She's determined the tie-breaking vote.
Yeah.
She did it with the insulin thing, but that's it. If something should happen to the president, get ready to step in the game. If there's a tie in the Senate, be ready to cast a decision-making vote. That's why when Pence was asked, they were thinking about hurting him and all this stuff. Trump says agreement reached on September debate terms. Uh-oh, this should be interesting. You know, right before 9/11, September 11th, they're looking at having the debate. Why it matters. The two campaigns have been at odds over whether the microphone should be hot for the debate. Trump said in a post in his Truth Social platform, they've agreed to the same rules that of June debate where he was with Biden, which the microphones were muted when the candidates were not speaking. The Harris campaign said in an email statement, both candidates have publicly made clear that their willingness to debate with unmuted mics for the duration of the debate to fully allow the substantive exchange between the candidate. But it appears Donald Trump is letting his handlers overrule him. Sad. So this will be interesting. A whole lot. You can check this information out. It's a lot of homework that we got to do. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, September the 10th, and they got another one. I think might be as late as October. But with we going back to the pros and cons, the prosecutor versus the convict. You know, we already know his story is already out there. Indicted, what,
Mm-hmm.
how many counts? 90 some counts. And I think around America, let me see this right strategy. You got to keep the conversation on point. These old ways of intimidating innocent folks. No, don't be surprised if they bring in the National Guard on election day. And you're right about that. They will.
Yeah.
They do it
Yeah.
back when black folk first started voting. They had to do that. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's why we have to be aware of what's going on. And there's a hotline if you are in a situation and you suspect some voter fraud. I know people say, uh, and this is in a lot of rural counties and other places. When I was down in South Georgia working a campaign, they had people that was looking at people's ballots like they were grading paper. You know, ain't nothing like a
Yeah.
nasty person standing over you looking at your ballot like this. And they're not supposed to be looking at your ballot.
Nope, they're not.
But you
Nope.
know, that's predation because that's like, and see, there's a lot of little subtle things like that we have to pay attention to, and that's at the polling sites. That's why we encourage the people to check your status, vote early, so that you can work the polls. If you never
Yeah.
work the polls, this is a prime opportunity to get in the game.
Yeah. So this was in South Georgia where they were doing that, looking over
Yeah,
your shoulder when you're voting.
yeah, and they did it up here in North Georgia. Yeah, a lot of places, and you know, you have to educate people that that's voter intimidation because it's I didn't mean anything.
Yeah, because they're not even supposed to be close by them. The poll workers, they're not supposed to be there.
They give you the little, you know, I'm in Fulton County, East Point. They give you the little sticker to put on, and they point
Yeah.
it. I know they have to make sure that you headed towards the little box, but
Right.
they should be touching the ballot or nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
They
a
should.
job is not to approve your ballot. So those are some little things that we have to look at. And so if you see some evidence of voter fraud, that's a part of voter suppression. There's a hotline. I got to pull that number up. It varies from state to state, but if you suspect any voter fraud, you know, voters with disabilities under federal law, you know, if you know, some places have made people with disabilities stand in the voting line. If you got a
Mm.
disability, you can go to the front of the line. You
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
uh, federal law demands this. Polling places must have at least one voting system that allows voters with disabilities to come in and immediately don't have to wait. So we got a lot of older senior voters. You know, I used to take my mother to the polls, and you know, over the latter years, we
Uh
did
huh.
early voting. She loved early voting. At first, it
No.
was, you know, but if you're not paying attention, I was down in another part of South Georgia. A lady told us, she said, "Well, we closed the polls at we don't come back until about 4 o'clock, and we close after that. Well, the early
Uh-uh.
vote supposed to stay open until 7, but because the people in that area, that town, weren't paying attention. I was down there. Oh man, I can't think of the name of the group that I was down there with. Uh, but we were down there, and our job was to minimize voter suppression.
Mm-hmm.
This is a town in South Georgia where the little people that was working, taking 2 and 3 hour lunches, doing early voting,
What?
and they working the polls. You see what I'm saying? See, they supposed to be
Yeah.
there availability to the people. This is why I'm very open and mindful, letting people know that you can work the polls.
Yeah.
You have to wait
Yeah.
for to stay in there and get in there. You can do it. Oh, a
Right.
presidential
Yeah.
days in October. That's good. We're gonna have to do some
Okay.
praying.
Yeah.
You
So
know what?
let me do one of the pros. A pro, Kamala Harris prosecute criminals. Con, Donald Trump was a criminal, and he paid people, to commit crimes. He said, knock the hell out of him. I'll pay your attorney fees. You
Mhm.
know, so that's a con right there. From the convict. He entices people to commit crimes, whereas Camilla uh, prosecute people who do the crime. One of the things she support women's rights and their right to govern their own bodies. Versus Khan with Trump take away women's right to govern their own reproductive bodies. And that's one of the things that I'm big on. Being able to do what I want to do with my body. I shouldn't have to let a man control me. You know, but that's one of the things Kamala did do. I mean, she is supportive of women's rights to, govern their own bodies because a 12-year-old child who got raped shouldn't be forced to have a baby. That shouldn't be. She don't even know anything about babies. She's still probably playing with baby dolls. And then they're going to force her to have a baby. And then women whose life is in danger, they shouldn't be forced to have those babies. And my thing is, if you're forcing all these women to have these babies, why are you giving these men these Viagra and Cialis? I think that should be taken away personally, because because that's the way I feel. Because I can get into the sexual thing, the difference between the men and the women, but we're gonna stay on this.
So got a vice president who's a super interesting weird person, Vance, who's changed his name 5 times.
Mm. Who
I
that?
mean, oh yeah. His name's been changed 5 times. Uh, I think one of his first names was Dennis, and he was adopted. He's got a book out and a movie out, The Hillbilly Elegy. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
goes into a little details, but the book is deeper. They said if the people in the Appalachians could read, they would really be mad at him. I
Mm.
mean, the book is it's like going down to the trailer park level on poor broke white people. Okay, now
Uh-huh.
what his position with women. What he call them, cat women. He think a woman should be barefooted and pregnant, and she should stay at home and do the needs of the man. Now, one of the things that's happening in this election, and this is going to be critical, and Kamala was able to mobilize this. Not only did she get uh, black women for Kamala, she was able to get white women for Kamala. Now, a lot of conservative, so-called conservative white women voted not in their best interest over the last 40 years. White women, ever since they got the right to vote back in 1919, I think, whatever, the 19th Amendment, whatever, they've been voting based on what their husbands told them to do. White women
Mm-hmm.
break through until around the 70s. You got these liberal white women that started to break through. That's why you didn't have a lot of white women in politics, because they follow the guidelines of their husbands. Well, one of the things that's happening now, white women are starting to ask the questions and look around and ask, am I important? So that means that are their issues important with their body?
Yeah.
White women, and that's one of the reasons I feel that Kamala's got a great chance to win. There's more white women than white men. There's more white women than white men. A lot of educated white women. Now, a lot of the white women that's still in the dark ages might still be following and behind their husbands and wagging the tail. But the modern day white woman is saying to herself, because she wants her granddaughter, her great granddaughters, to have the right to choose. So this is one of the things that's happening in this particular campaign. White women are coming up, and guess who else is coming up? Gay white men.
Oh, really?
Gay white men have always been a power group, and with what's the brother Bella? Not I almost said Belichick, Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Is
Okay.
being openly gay, and he's actually held down an office. So you got more people of gender preferences coming out and supporting Kamala.
Yeah, because one of the things I couldn't understand, why were these women supporting Trump when they know that he's a pedophile, a rapist? I don't understand that. Nowhere in the world will I be supporting somebody and I know that he don't respect me as a woman. And look at all those names he be calling these women. Just calling them all kinds of bad names and disrespecting them. And no, I just don't get it. I don't
Well,
understand why they would even do something like that. You know?
well, like I said earlier, white women are starting to address the fact that they got something to say. They don't have to follow and hide behind the coattail of their husband. Now they can have a voice. Like I said, with gender preference, the old school way of thinking, a man's man, I tell you what to do, I tell you what to say, how to do it. The younger generation, this generation now, and Trump is the old head in the game now.
Mm-hmm.
His vice president, who's I think he's 49 years old, but look at him. He looks like and sounds like an outdated robot. Like somebody woke him up, and he said all kind of crazy things about women. He's now they had to tone him down because at some point they've got to talk about an agenda. He can't bring up 2025, and Trump can no longer talk about the wall. Or they talk about immigration, but when you think about it, there were more people came across the border under Trump than any other president.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was going to build this wall that kept falling down and put all that money into it. And that's another sign for Trump. I'm gonna drain the swamp. I remember him saying that so many times. He's gonna drain the swamp, drain the swamp. Guess who the swamp was? United States of America. Drain their pockets because he took all the money from them. That's draining the swamp. Because he owed the United States so much money. You know, and
Right. Legal
and I
fees.
don't understand why anybody want to put him back in office and let him continue to take from this country, and they already saying we in debt.
Well, the legal fees that he's paid over the years, the millions and millions. And guess where you get this money? He took the money that he's been running the campaign with. The reason, and this is another thing. One of the reasons, now, this is the assassination attempt that happened, if it's real or whatever. But they say one of the reasons the assassination attempt went like it did was Trump has a record of not paying the local police.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
I know he didn't pay for the services.
right. So what has happened? A lot of those people now, back 4 years ago, he was able to charge them up, get them fired up. But money, when these people don't get any money for you showing up, they see it's a big publicity stunt, and you're not doing anything to help empower the community by leaving a little money there, you're gonna have a problem. And if you look at uh and this started before the assassination attempt, he was
Mm-hmm.
many show ups, like pop-ups. Wasn't a lot of people. He had a couple people in the back, blacks for Trump, this for Trump, and this stuff like that. But the big frenzy crowd started to dissipate. Okay, because especially now the crowds are. That's why he's so just mesmerized by crowds. Oh, a lot of people were there. A lot of people were there. Nobody's showing up, and they tired of hearing the same old rhetoric. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I know. And and he likes to put himself in the limelight where he had a lot of people there, you know. And, but you know what? He's scared of Kamala.
Oh yeah.
He's scared
Well,
of he don't have a whole lot to say about her, no more than she don't have any kids and what is she laugh funny.
yeah.
You know, what do he have to say? You
I
know?
didn't know back. And you know what? This is something for us as
Yeah.
a people. We can't get caught up in this big fugazi that he creates. Okay? When you don't have nothing else that you can do of substance, you start making stuff up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that he won't be able to do that he's been able to do, and this is one of the reasons Kamala wanted that mic hot. So when this man starts to lie and just come off the top of his head, she can check him right there.
Yeah.
But he'll do anything. He'll say, but he can't do that now. You see,
Right. Yeah. Cause he is gonna get up there and do a whole lot of lying.
he can't
Yeah.
help it. You know,
Yeah.
uh, this man, like I said, he's got I think at least 4 lawyers that have done jail time for him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if your lawyers got to do jail time, these are the ones we know about. We're not talking about the shady deals he did in Atlantic City, around Vermont. They don't. They want his name off of most of the stuff that's on there.
Yeah.
See,
And you know, he owed New York a lot of money.
money.
You know,
Oh, New
and
York is
and if he don't start paying these people, they're gonna start taking his stuff. You know, so I don't.
going back to the con. He's been impeached twice. He's got a court case that's coming up after November here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Hit about Fannie. Fannie's got his number.
Yep. Yep. She does. And I was just looking at this. Some of my notes where Trump was ordered to pay $83.3 million to a writer named Jean E. Carroll for damaging her reputation. And on a separate case, he was ordered to pay her $5 million for sexual abuse and defamation. You
Hmm.
know, for just defaming her name, $5 million. You know, he's appealing a 38 $938,000 against him and his attorneys for frivolous lawsuits against Hillary Clinton. You
Yeah,
know,
all that email stuff. Lock her up. You know, and again, I think the American people. I have to give American people the benefit of the doubt. They
mhm.
finally seeing that he's not good for America.
Oh no. Well, I saw that early on. You know, especially when he was mocking those handicapped people. I'm
Them
going,
handicapped
no, that's not good. You don't mock people like that. You know,
veterans. A lot of people when they travel outside of the United States, they say the first thing people ask them is about him. and they
Yeah.
don't ask. They feel like it's being harassed when they gotta explain why they didn't do nothing about January the 6th. Okay, they feel
Uh-huh.
pressured, and these are white people. When white people got to leave America, and the French, the people that white people respect are saying, "I just can't believe. Are you guys that loony?"
Oh,
you know,
really?
they don't hear that. So white
Yeah.
people, like I said, especially white women are starting to smell a little stink. They say it because they said, "Oh, I don't know how you could vote for a man that's a rapist." They don't know how many abortions he's uh, paid out. You know,
Yeah.
so all this stuff is going down. All this stuff is hitting us. And just like we seeing it, we keep pouring clean glasses of water into the Kool-Aid. Republican group cites notorious Dred Scott ruling as reason Kamala Harris can't be president. Whoa. Well,
What was the Dred Scott ruling?
you got to go deep on that. Dred Scott, the National Federation of Republican Assemblies have cited infamous 1857 Dred Scott court decision, which stated that enslaved people weren't citizens, to argue that Vice President Kamala Harris is ineligible to run for president according to the Constitution. Group also challenged the rights of Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley to appear on Republican ballots. And these extreme Republicans. The Republican group platform and policy document noted that the constitutional qualifications of presidential eligibility states that no person except a natural born citizen shall be eligible or a citizen of the United States at the time of adoption of the Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. And these a lot of these constitutionists. These are the ones that are so wrapped in the Constitution. The Dred Scott decision, and this is good for people to review. Uh, it's some stuff in it, but that was
Okay.
1850. Now you got to
What
think.
was
Well,
Trump born in the United States?
yeah,
He was.
I believe, yeah. But well, yeah. But all the people come from immigrants. But the decision 1857. You got to think about this. Uh, the 13th and 14th Amendments, which abolished slavery, came in what 1870, I believe. When the 13th and 14th Amendments, okay. So the
Uh-huh.
13th Amendment overrides all that uh Dred Scott decision. Now this
Mm.
this is the importance of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court that we got now, we got Cassandra Brown. She's there. She's the junior one, but they will interpret the law according to it's the same words, but they can interpret it. But I doubt they would agree with these nuts. Those same
Yeah.
people that brought up the birth certificate about Obama.
Obama. Yeah.
You got to think a lot of stuff gonna come out the closet, like Michelle said the other night. They're gonna be throwing everything at us. They're gonna try to
Hmm.
kids. They're gonna throw you all kind of stuff. So you're gonna have to really, really pay attention. You got to do a lot more than just vote. Okay, you got to pay attention. You got to educate people in your community, your seniors, your young people, because within our families there are a lot of people that are misguided and getting a lot of misinformation.
Yeah. And those people who want to vote for Trump, they don't know that Trump won't want this to be the last election for president. Because if he can become president, you don't have to vote anymore. That's what he's saying. So Trump going to be king. He'll be in office forever until he pass away.
A lot of rhetoric. He'll be dead within the next 5 years. 80 something years old with all the stress he's getting, eating all them hamburgers every,
Mhm.
you know. But not to put that out, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of times Trump creates a persona like he's God.
Yeah.
It makes people say, man, he gonna do this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Man, these people, this is one man. Now he has influenced some people, but his influence is going down because people are seeing the clean glass of water. And this is where the prosecutor and the convict gonna still be lying, trying to put dirt in the water. But you keep pouring that clean glass of water in there and keep pouring it in there, what's gonna happen? Pretty
So
soon, it's gonna be clean water. All that dirt gonna get, and people gonna see the lies. Now, all these preachers, these evangelical people, they jumping out the parachutes because people like, and it's two confused people. One is what Robert Kennedy Jr. and then Billy Graham's son. Now, Billy Graham, before he died, his son, I can't even think of his name, Franklin, is weird. A lot of these people are showing up, but they also, people open their eyes and saying, this man wrote his own Bible.
You're talking about Trump?
Yeah.
The one who can't even tell you one of his favorite verse in the Bible. Don't know anything about the Bible, yet still he gonna have one. And what really tripped me out, you remember when he was in office, he hurt people just to do a photo op with the Bible that was upside down. And now he gonna have his own Bible.
In there, the Bill of Rights. So a lot of stuff, a lot of these antics have exposed him to be the con man that he is. And I think more people are smelling the Trump dump. And when you start smelling Trump dump, you're gonna make better decisions. I mean, even if some people might feel America's not ready for a woman. I think there are about 4 countries that have women heads, whether it's president, heads of state. So it's not unusual for a woman to be in charge, okay? Said you got more women that are showing up now, more white women. And they're being proactive about their rights, because in the past, white women had held their nose and put their head in the sand and ignored reality. But now they got to slap, because Trump slap them every day,
But all I gotta say is behind every successful man is a woman. Look at Barack Obama. Michelle was a strong woman. And Bill Clinton, they say Hillary actually was the one that ran the White House.
I can believe that. Ran the White House when Ronald was up there.
Yeah. And, so women are very powerful. People just, I don't understand why men have a problem in taking orders from women.
And Theodore Roosevelt and a daughter ran the White House when Truman was sick. I mean, when Roosevelt was sick.
Yeah.
That in the 45, back in the day. So it's not unnormal.
Yeah. Women can do it. But our time is up. What is it you want to leave with them before we get out of here?
Over the next 21 days, we got a challenge. And part of that challenge is to make sure that you check your voting status. Make sure that you're registered to vote and look at what's going on in your community. Find out what's on the ballot. You can download the ballot, get a copy of the ballot early, and see what's on there other than the president.
Yeah. So it is more on there than the president, but I haven't. In my area, we did a lot of elections early, so I wasn't thinking about anybody else going to be on the ballot besides the president. Because we did it a couple of months ago. We had elections here.
They had runoffs about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there were some people that lost their position because people didn't even know they were voting.
Yeah. So we got to be diligent and find out and know what's going on. Definitely, and see who else is on there, because we don't want some laws to be passed about something, about taxes or whatever, and we don't know about it. Be able to voice your opinion and know what's going on. So that's going to be it for today. Pros and cons. There are a lot of pros and cons. For me, all the pros is for Kamala Harris. She support women. She wants you to vote. She's a nice person. That's one thing I like her. And the girl got spunk. You know, I liked her before she became vice president. I saw her in office and she was good. So I liked her early on as a senator because she was strong and she can do the job. So we want to look at everything because to me it doesn't make sense to have somebody who's a criminal, to run to hold an office. This man got all these charges against him, and I ain't gonna say everybody, a lot of people still want to vote for him and put him in office. Why would you want to put somebody, a criminal, in office? I don't understand that. Why would you want to put a rapist in office and have your daughters or your niece or your grandbabies around this man? No, no, this rapist, this sexual predator is going to be in charge of your child's life, your life, and you okay with it? I don't get it. The person who steal from people, make people go bankrupt. No, no, no. He's a crook, a crook, a crook. And you should not have him in office. He throw you under the bus. He have no loyalty whatsoever. If you're gonna put a hitman on your vice president because he don't sign the papers that you want him to sign, ain't no way in the world will I be trying to vote for him again. No way in the world. So y'all wake up. You gotta wake up and see what kind of mayor Trump is. No way. No way. That's all I gotta say. Get out and vote. Wake up, wake up. Until next time, y'all have a good one.
Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become President of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become President of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president, and the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die, and the woman will become president under the law or Constitution. And once that barrier is broken, from then on, men better be careful, because they'll have a hard time ever even getting a nomination in the future. But that's the way it's going to happen, and I think it'll probably come sometime in the next 4 or 8 years.